When you think of an argument, you may think about yelling or screaming. However, an argument by definition is actually a carefully constructed claim and its supports. Just think, when have you won an argument? When you were angry, or when you logically proved your claim or your position using evidence? Today we're going to talk about something called the argument house, and this is a concept that will help you think about the components of an argument. The LEQ that we are going to focus on today is what are the elements of an effective argument. As we discuss this LEQ, I want you to think of an argument like a house. The roof needs to be held up by its supports or it will fall down. So the elements of an effective argument include two parts: something that fits inside the roof and something that fits inside the bottom house. What I want you to do is think about the roof being a claim or a position on a problem. This is the position you're taking on an issue. This is very times an opinion or belief, but it revolves around some sort of topic. Imagine you made a claim that chocolate ice cream was the best. Would every single person agree with you? Probably not. You need something called support to show why your opinion is right, or no one has to agree. This is where the bottom half of the house comes in. The support, or the reasons and evidence, hold up your claim by backing up your ideas. You need support, or your roof, your claim, will fall down. There are three major types of support, ways that you can show your reasons and your evidence. Number one being factual claims, number two being opinions, and number three being commonplace assertions. At this point, if you need to, you should pause this screencast in order to write down these three types of support on your graphic organizer. Let's take a closer look at these three types of support. The first is factual claims. This is a very strong support because it's really hard to oppose a factual claim. These supports include facts, observations, expert opinions. Think about it like this. If a doctor tells you to get a flu shot, you'd believe them because they're an expert, so expert opinions would hold up well. If a teacher told you, you might question it, even though we see our fair share of germs. If you see something, you're observing something, then it's stronger than just overhearing it at lunch. If you were actually there, your opinion, while it is an opinion, the fact that you're observing, it is still stronger than if you overheard from someone else. And again, facts, as we've talked about in class before, hold up well because you can't prove them wrong. All three of these items hold up well because you can't dispute them, even though some people may try to. Opinions are a form of weak support, and the reason that they're weak is because a claim is already an opinion. So if you say, I like chocolate ice cream as your claim, and try to support it with the idea that chocolate is delicious, maybe not everyone agrees with you because they hate chocolate, so they disagree with your claim, and maybe it isn't delicious to them, so then they would disagree with your support. Your support shouldn't be something that people can say is incorrect. Our third common type of support is called a commonplace assertion. This is something that many people believe to be true, but it isn't necessarily true. Think about the idea of sharks. Many people in the general public believe that all sharks are dangerous, but just because this is something that generally people believe, it doesn't mean that this is actually true. There are actually many types that are not dangerous, but people don't know that because of what they've heard. Think of commonplace assertions as a generalization and sometimes even a stereotype. After looking at or even reading an argument, you might still feel like there wasn't support for the idea, but you find yourself agreeing with the claim anyway. In this case, the author probably used something called persuasive techniques, and we're going to take a look at these in more detail in relationship to advertisements before we look at text. One type of a persuasive technique is called appeals by association. And there are two major types of appeals by association. Companies use this strategy a lot to get you to buy into and literally buy their ideas about their products. The first type of appeal by association is bandwagon. What bandwagon does is it argues the idea that if everyone else is doing it, you should do it too. So in this example, we have a person who is dressed differently than everyone else in the picture because no one wants to be that guy who's dressed differently than everybody else. So that would be an idea of bandwagon. That's why people tend to say jump on the bandwagon. Everyone jumps in because other people are doing it. The other type of appeal by association is called a testimonial. And this is someone who is satisfied with the product. Very often companies use celebrities rather than just satisfied customers to show why the product is good and argue why the product is good. Writers also use these two strategies as well because they know that people want to feel like they belong. The other very common type of persuasive technique is emotional appeals. This is when companies, and again, also authors, play with your emotions to make you agree with their claims. They might try to appeal to your vanity by telling you how amazing you are, or in this case, in the example, showing you how amazing you will be if you use their product. The other type of emotional appeal that's very common is appeal to fear, which is basically when they scare you into agreeing with them. So for example, in the ad below, you see that they're showing someone who's smoking, but there's also a gun in the shadow, which is trying to scare you into the fact that if you smoke, you will die, which is a very strong message coming from this advertisement. Now that you've reached the end of this presentation, I would like for you to continue working on your graphic organizer. With this first advertisement, I want you to answer the 3 questions on your organizer to practice thinking about these ideas. Think about the claim, the support, and any strategies that the company has used to make you want to agree with their claim. Remember, a claim is not necessarily just to use the product. They might be trying to make a claim about the product in particular. You can pause this video so that you can analyze the advertisement, and feel free to move to an earlier piece in the video in order to refresh your memory on some of these ideas. As you have now reached the second advertisement, I want you to consider the same 3 questions and go through the process of identifying the claim and supports for this ad, and think about the techniques that are here. Hint, there is a lot of techniques in this ad. I blew up the fine print in this area over here because there's a lot of language that is very important to this advertisement in terms of how they're convincing you to agree with them. Consider this fine print when you think about, would you actually give a baby 7-Up? Because this ad makes it seem like it is a great idea. If you have not done so already, this is your reminder that there's a graphic organizer that accompanies this screencast. Please complete it to submit it this week for 10 points.